This meeting is being recorded.
Hi, everybody. I'm Chris Metzler. I'm one of the programmers here at SF DocFest, and you've just had a chance to see the really wonderful film 26 to Life. And it's our opening night film. And what's also neat is that it's a Bay Area story, and it's kind of just neat to kind of shine a light on some inspirational and really cool people doing some cool work out there in the world. Thanks for joining us, everybody. If you could kind of, Christine, do you want to kind of introduce yourself and the who else we have here on the line?
Sure. My name is Christine Yu. I'm the director and producer of 26.2 to Life. And thank you very much, Chris and SF Docs, for welcoming us to this year's festival. It's truly an honor. I have with me today two gentlemen who appear in the film. Markel Taylor, otherwise known as the Gazelle of San Quentin, who was a main subject in the film, and Mr. Tone Evans, who also was in the film. Kind of the sportscaster in a lot of ways of the
movie. Maybe a good place to start is, Christine, how did you hear about the goings on with the running club and decide that, there was like a bigger film to make?
Yeah, I first found out about the marathon at San Quentin one morning when I was waking up and was looking at my iPhone and found out about it from a GQ magazine article, actually.
Oh, wow.
And it was just sort of one of those moments in life where by the end of the article, I knew that somehow I had to make a movie about this. I also, about 20 years ago, I also had to have a friend who was falsely accused and wrongfully convicted and sentenced to life inside California prison. And that really impacted me personally. I've always been into social justice issues, but I had never known anybody, myself, who was in prison. That really shaped my life in many ways. Also fellow Korean American. So when I found out about the marathon at San Quentin, and I'm more of a recreational runner, I guess you could say, but I could certainly understand the concept of like a runner's high and finding freedom. And just kind of those two elements, drove me to this story. Originally, when I was thinking about this, I was thinking about doing it as a narrative film because that was more my background. But after going inside for a half marathon, that was my first time I had been in San Quentin. I was just really struck with the conversations I was having, with the kind of atmosphere. And I felt like after a couple of months of doing more research that I just sort of needed to get out of the way and turn the camera on the people that are in the movie. I felt like that people would have a lot to learn from them.
And when as you kind of started filming, like what were some of the challenges that went on, and how did you all feel about the story being captured in a documentary?
Who's that one to?
That's for everybody. Okay. Well, when the idea of this documentary came up and you had approval, Markel, how did you feel about being filmed and about being interviewed and stuff?
I don't know. I guess overwhelmed still, but excited, and I guess excited and more or less ready to express happiness and joy in any way, one shape or another, to kind of like shine light on my brothers that I left behind inside San Quentin. And hopefully what I do by being an ambassador, it can help pave the way for them as well.
I can see that. I mean, it's great to be able to kind of get it out there in the world in that way. I mean, Christine, did you have any were there obstacles of getting permission, or was everybody kind of on board to kind of, let this story be documented?
Getting permission from San Quentin was definitely a long process, but much to credit really of California Department of Corrections, they did let me in, and our crew in. The tenuous thing was, once we got in, there's never a guarantee that you're going to have another day of filming. They don't have to give you permission. So it was always, we sort of treated every time that we went in there with respect, and, with the hope that we'll be able to go back. But I think over time, the administration saw that, the movie really in a lot of ways is not necessarily about like making prison, quote unquote, look bad or good. It's really about just the human experience, about what these men were facing and the challenges that they were at that particular time.
And how's things kind of evolved since you've kind of wrapped filming of the movie, and what's been happening in everybody's lives?
Well, that's been the amazing gift of telling this story and being documenting this community, is that one, it really is a community of people, and being able to kind of keep tabs on people as they're miraculously, like about 90, the statistics are that 90% of the people who are currently incarcerated will eventually get out. And about 90%, I would say, of the people that are featured in the film have been released, which has been an amazing thing to witness. And it never gets old, hearing or seeing people get released from prison.
And what did Markel and Tone, what did you guys think about the final film? Was it what you expected? Did it surprise you in any sort of way?
It's interesting that you said that, because I didn't like it at first, and I didn't even really want to see it. But there was some certain things that happened where I just had my little irritations that I didn't want to really see it. Like when I was in New York when it first came out, the screen there, I caught COVID, so I was just like irritated, like mad at everybody because I couldn't be there and all of that stuff. So I didn't really want to see it. But that was just being a little childish, and I had to overcome that. But after seeing it quite a few times, I got adjusted to it, and I started liking it. And she did a really good job. I'm proud of her. Thank you, Christine.
Yeah, amen.
Truthfully.
How about go ahead, Tom.
Good, Chris. No, I think she did a really good job with the movie. We watched her. That unfolded like over a course of 6 years, and she made us feel comfortable with the filming of it and how we were going to be portrayed. So it was great to go to the fest and see other people's reactions to the movie. We feel really good about it.
And like when folks kind of walk out of the theater, or when the credits roll at home, like what's your hope that people are going to take away from it? In being in the film, what would be the thing that you would want people to know? Tone or
Who do you want to ask? Who are you talking about?
Oh, I asking Markel or Tone.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So, like, when people finish watching the movie, what's the thing that you would want them to kind of walk away thinking about? If you could change one thing in the world,
that people that are incarcerated, they are not crying. They made mistakes, but they're doing the best they can in the situation that they're dealt with for making those bad decisions and choices in life. And they're doing something with their lives to better their situation, to better their mindset, to better their hearts, and just to be able to be productive citizens, whether getting out or not, just like I have 5 years before getting released. So it's effective. The community, the love, the running the community, the people that support the coaches. It's a beautiful program that's not allowed or given in any other institution besides San Quentin. And I just feel bad for the other people that don't have those opportunities. But
Mm.
at least we know that in San Quentin, with the 1,000 Mile Club and the coaches and the other programs as well, uh, help us to be the best we can possibly be and feel good about ourselves at the same time.
Yeah, I think that last part definitely rings true and is there at the heart of the film. Christine, you'd mentioned you'd kind of, fallen in love with this story or knew as a story you wanted to follow. As you started making it, I mean, did your vision for the film evolve or change in different ways, or was there anything that surprised you that you hadn't expected?
Every day was a surprise. And I think that's what fueled myself and my team's passion over the number of years that it took to make the film. Ironically, the film, like the kind of the structure of the film, the narrative structure is what we eventually what I had initially conceived. But in terms of the details of the stories themselves, I would have never have imagined hearing these kinds of stories, which is why I felt it was so important to document as opposed to do a motion picture per se. So we went way out there on the other side. I mean, we couldn't really stop filming. We must have filmed actually about 100 days, I want to say, not all inside, and there's so much that obviously didn't make it in the film. But, I felt we all felt really strongly, my team, that there were so many people whose stories have really important stories to tell that, and unfortunately the limitations of a feature film just can't manage, accommodate that. And, what we do hope people walk away with is that viewers will be challenged about their assumptions about people in prison, and that hopefully, that we can rethink how to actually incarcerate in this country and look at things like mandatory minimum sentencing and realize that they're not doing us any favors and that we really need to critically rethink our approach.
And then, in my understanding, you recently had a screening of the film in San Quentin, is that right?
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about how that screening went, and in being able to share the story in a documentary, has it encouraged interest in the marathon and the running club with folks that maybe weren't interested or dismissed it before?
Yeah, the screening at San Quentin was really an amazing experience for a couple of reasons. One, I think that the guys probably thought that this movie was never going to get done. For example, so go in there over the years, they're like, "How's that film coming along, Christine?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's going."
Yeah.
So I'm like, "Hey, it's actually finally." So of course that was incredibly gratifying. But in the post screening discussion that we had, some really important things, conversations came out of it. Many of the men, after having seen Markel get out, go to Boston, told us that it was watching that was really a reminder to have goals, to retain a sense of hope, to have dreams, so that alone I felt was really important. The other aspect was, the relationship that Tommy has with his own son. Many people are fathers and parents from prison, husbands, and, obviously family members, and seeing the kind of challenge that was on screen helped create a context for discussion. I understand for a lot of these men to open up about their own situations with each other, that I understand went well beyond, that evening into the cell block. So that was, important. And then the other thing was, people also said that seeing, Markel and Tommy and Rahsaan talk about their crimes and what brought them to San Quentin, and the insight that they had into their situations helped inform them about how to perhaps prepare for their own hearings. And so I felt those were all really, and so it really reinforced our commitment to get the film into other prisons, with the idea that perhaps we could also start new running clubs as well. Of course, the 1,000 Mile Club.
And is there anything, Markel or Tone, that you'd like to kind of share with the audience, or that want folks to know that maybe they aren't thinking about?
Well, besides trying to get, and I'm still going to talk about this and bring this up, trying to get like running singlets and shorts that'll be like, as well as shoes provided for the guys inside on the running club. That was my vision from the very beginning. That's how I started my own clothing line for runners or running gear. I want to be able to do that for the guys inside, because I made a secret promise to them that I would try to make that happen. And then also, if I can come back in there and be what was given to me, which is come back as a coach and write support letters for guys who are getting ready for the board, and be supportive of them and help them any way I can, is my way of giving back and paying it forward, just like the other programs inside that allows for alumni to come back in and facilitate.
That's awesome. And how about you, Tone? Anything you'd like to share with the audience?
Pretty much just the redemptive value of the human spirit when you cherish every life. There are people who come in, the 1,000 Mile coaches and volunteers, they came in with open minds, and they just embraced everybody who was there and everybody who came out just to participate and to run and to actually go on that journey with them. So to me, that's just the thing that it gives you a sense of community inside that you bring out with you. And then all you can do is go forward with that out here. And that's what I take from the movie, and that's what I took from the club.
Nice. Well, the thing I always try to remind our audiences is that, we at film festivals are lucky enough that filmmakers go out there and make these movies and share them with us early on in their lifespan. And so our job is to be kind of the street team, to support the film and the subjects, to kind of help spread the word. So really encourage folks to kind of, let everybody know you saw this great movie, and that to get brought to, a neighborhood near you. I think that, Christine, you've mentioned you're going to have some more of their Bay Area screenings later in the fall, so we can do that. And what's the good way to kind of continue to follow the film, but also the running club itself, if folks are interested in diving a little bit deeper?
So you can follow the film on social media. We have Instagram at SQ Marathon, and on Facebook at 26.2 to Life. Our website is also sanquentinmarathon.com. And for the 1,000 Mile Clubs, it's the 1000mileclub.com. We will be opening it in theaters in the Bay Area September 22nd. So I hope people will continue to support the film and the running club, and the idea that people can and that they do change, and that we hope that we can spread the message of second chances and the importance of that. And one thing I did want to mention is that the film creatively, all of the crew, this was a Bay Area film, and, I'm so proud of that. And, Little Giant and really had a hand in making this happen. So big shout out to them. And Antoine Banks Williams, who is somebody that I met while he was still incarcerated at San Quentin, is the music composer. He was released in, I think it was 2019, I believe. And, I felt like he had the sound of San Quentin. And so worked together with him on this really fantastic score. And also David Jassy, who produced a lot of the tracks, the songs that you'll find in the film on an album called San Quentin Mixtape, Volume 1. Get it on Spotify.
Awesome, man. And you were mentioning that all the music in the film is from folks that were either had been incarcerated at San Quentin or have been released, and so it's very much music that's kind of inspired by the people that kind of live and breathe this story.
For sure. I mean, running and music for many people go hand in hand. Although a lot of like hardcore runners don't use music, but
Really?
a lot of people, do consider music and running to go hand in hand. And so it was really important to, get those stories, tell those stories authentically as well.
Very cool. Well, thank you again for making this wonderful film, Christine, and Tony Markel. Thank you for doing what you do and letting cameras enter your lives and kind of help share parts of the story here. Thank you again, and thank you again for being opening night at SF DocFest this year.
Thank you so much, Chris.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. Thank
you,
you
Chris,
for watching.
All right.
Thank you, Chris.
It's definitely, guys.
So awesome. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.